Hi, and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Stacy Logwood with the Champaign County Drug-Free Youth Coalition, and the co-developer of this webinar is Frank Copeland with the Coalition for a Drug-Free Carroll County. Today we're going to focus on the National Health Observances, and this guide is to help you as a coalition leader or a prevention specialist plan and execute monthly health observances in your community. This series of webinars is being brought to you by the SPF PFS grant and the Ohio Coaching and Mentoring Team. Our presentation talks about National Drug and Alcohol Facts Week. The observance of this Facts Week is held in January annually. It's a health observance week for teens that aims to shatter the myths about drug and alcohol use. While this is happening annually in January, the 2018 dates are January 22nd through January 28th. During this week, students are able to link and communicate with scientists and other experts to counteract the myths about drugs and alcohol that teens typically get from the internet, social media, TV, movies, music, and from their friends. This observance was launched in 2010 by scientists at the National Institute on Drug Abuse, otherwise known as NIDA, to stimulate educational events in communities so that teens could learn what science has taught us about drug use and addiction. The National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism became a partner starting in 2016, and alcohol has now been added as a topic area for the week. This is important because alcohol is the #1 widely abused substance amongst young people. NIDA and the NIAAA are part of the National Institutes of Health. This week is an opportunity for teens to shatter the myths about drugs and drug use. In communities and school events all over America, teens, scientists, and other experts get to come together to ask questions about how drugs affect the brain, body, and behaviors. For the purpose of this webinar, we wanted to show you how you could roll this event out in your community if you were a prevention specialist or a coalition leader. And so we start with, who should we be engaging? And who will do what to help start this observance in your community? When we look at the community sectors of your coalition, we have identified that partners in education, media, youth, medical and health professions, government, and service organizations will be needed to help you carry out the observance of National Drug and Alcohol Facts Week. Your education partners, because this is intended for high school teens, we would want to reach out to our high school principals and guidance counselors at each of our school districts across our county. We would be asking them to utilize a toolkit that the coalition will provide, and also an activity guide throughout the week to ensure that students get to participate in the observance. We would want to make sure that we secure a memorandum of understanding for all who are participating, and then we'd be asking them to carry out the week-long activities. We'd also be sending teacher lesson plans to all of the homeroom teachers, and what is so great about this National Health Observance is that on the website that is created by National Drug and Alcohol Facts Week, they have lesson plans for teachers as well as all of the activities that a community can engage in. But it doesn't limit it to just those activities. You can be creative and come up with your own as well. So once we get the education partners on board, we need to promote the event. We're going to need our media team. We're asking our local newspaper and our youth-led program to help us with this. Our local newspaper will be asked to publish an editorial about the week-long events and also provide media coverage during the kickoff events that we will be holding throughout the week. We need our youth-led programming to help us with social media rollout. They will be sending out the messages to other young people and the larger community about the events of the week. So then we need our young people to help. We have selected to use our youth-led members to help with the social media and the kickoff events. And then we also need the larger population of high school youth to participate. Our youth-led members will be crafting social media messages. We hope to have 5 a day that have drug and alcohol facts that'll be sent out to the coalition and high school social media pages. We want our youth-led members to serve as our kickoff hosts at each school kickoff event. We're going to need our high school youth to participate in school events and to read one drug or alcohol fact each morning during announcements each day of the event at their school. We're going to also ask our high school youth to participate in an infographic competition for a prize or an award. And then we want to encourage all of our high school students to use the hashtag NDAFW so that we can track our local events to be part of this national movement. Who else do we need? Well, we need our medical and health professionals. We've selected to use a doctor, our health commissioner, and a chemical dependency counselor. These folks will serve as medical experts on a panel, and they'll field locally asked questions from youth about drugs and alcohol. We hope to have them available at some of our youth-serving organizations so that those organizations can also participate outside of the high school. We need our government to help, so we're going to be asking our county commissioners and our local mayors to sign a proclamation declaring that January 22nd through the 28th is National Drug and Alcohol Facts Week. They'll do this in partnership with our coalition and in partnership with our youth-serving organizations. This proclamation will be shared across youth-serving organizations, high schools, and social media. And finally, we need service organizations. And for the purpose of this project, we've selected some youth-serving organizations to help us, such as the YMCA, 4-H, Boys and Girls Clubs. We want them to work with local commissioners and mayors to have the proclamation signed and distributed. And then we're asking them to host a chat day at their regularly scheduled youth meeting where youth can chat with the local experts and that they would bring in the medical health professionals that we've identified, as well as complete the IQ challenge that the National Drug and Alcohol Facts website has available for youth to participate in. So again, who are we after? We really want to make sure that high school students, our teens, at all of our local high schools get to participate in this week-long observance. So it seems like a lot of work to carry out an event like this, but because so much of the event can be prepackaged and has been developed for you, we really can narrow it down to a 5-week timeline. In the first week, you want to be able to develop your toolkit for all of your high school principals and guidance counselors. You're going to want to share your activity plans with all of the responsible parties who are going to be carrying out any of the activities. And with that activity plan, you need to have some very clear-cut timelines on there. You want to announce to the media the infographic contest for youth and also provide to youth the requirements for them to participate in that contest. During week 2, you need to check in with each sector and assure that they understand their responsibilities and their activities, answer any questions that they may have, and then you're going to want to make sure that the education sector has had the opportunity to review the toolkit that you've developed. By week 3, you want to get your local media on board. So contact your local print media and set up your social media messages so that they'll be running during the times that you need them and giving specific time information around the kickoff events as well as the editorial for publishing. You want to develop your drug and alcohol fact sheet for youth so that they will have those available to read at each of the schools during morning announcements. You also need to confirm your location of your kickoff event. You're going to need to practice the kickoff events with your youth-led members so that they can help facilitate those events while on site at the schools. During week 4 leading up to the event, you need to follow up with each of your sectors regarding their progress and questions. You're going to want to test your technology. Your youth-serving organizations are going to need to make sure that they have the ability to host the IQ challenge, as well as the chat event that the medical team will be providing at the youth-serving organization. And in week 5, be available. Make sure that you have time to be at each kickoff event and for technical assistance from any of the sectors who may run into any problems. So if we break it into that 5-week timeline, there's some things that have to happen first. And the first thing is we have to kind of plan the activities, know who's responsible, and set some timelines for us as a coalition to be prepared. The first thing is you have to form a planning team. Your coalition coordinator or your prevention specialist should take charge of this, and that should be completed about 2 months prior to the project. We've established a timeline of December 1st. Once you've got your planning team in place, you want to plan your National Drug and Alcohol Fact Week's events, and your coalition members should be helping with those planning activities as well as your youth-led membership. That should be done at a typical coalition meeting, and so we've selected that to be completed by our December meeting. You want to register your event. When you go to the National Drug and Alcohol Facts Week website, there is a place where you can register your event and become part of this nationwide movement. You will need information such as the address and a contact person for the location that your event will be held at. And for all organizations participating, we would ask that each different high school and organization register their own event. This should be completed by December 15th. Secure your science. We need our medical community to be our scientists and our experts. We want to make sure by December 15th that they're on board to help us with this project. And then finally, we need to promote the event. Beginning in January, we will be promoting through all sectors the event and the types of activities that we'll be conducting throughout the week. So, as a community, you have the opportunity to share a strong message from your coalition. You can promote things to do in your school and things to do in youth-serving organizations. Both groups should register their site. They should also host a kickoff event and encourage their young people to use the hashtag NDAFW on Twitter and Facebook. In the school, we want to make sure that students have the opportunity to read a drug fact or alcohol fact on the daily announcements. We want them to participate in the student infographic design competition. We'll be presenting awards to the finalists at the kickoff event. We want to make sure that the school and coalition partner to advertise the event on social media. And then we also need to encourage the teachers to use the drug fact lesson plans that are available to them. In youth-led organizations, we want to have the mayor and county commissioners sign a proclamation declaring National Drug and Alcohol Facts Week in your community. Have the opportunity to have youth have a chat day with our local medical professionals. Invite those local drug and alcohol experts to speak with the youth in your organization. Have the technology available for the IQ challenge. And also use this event on social media to build capacity for your organization. When we think about coalition building and capacity building, one of the wins for youth-serving organizations to be a part of the coalition is that they can gain new membership through some of the events that they partner with the coalition on. This is a great strategy to encourage new members to their organization as well. Once the event has happened, celebrate. What an awesome experience this will be for your community. But at the end, we have to ask ourselves some hard questions. So for each of the activities, we're going to want to know, what were the successes of the activity? What could we have done better? How could we change it? What didn't work at all? What do we want to do away with, add, or reinforce for the following year? How many students participated in each activity? And then we also think that we should develop a 10-question SurveyMonkey link to get feedback from the sectors who participated, so that we can use their impact and their information about the project to make future decisions. To do this, we have a $1,500 budget. We know it's going to take some staff time to coordinate the event, and we've dedicated $300 of staff time to help with this effort. We'll be reimbursing mileage for the sectors who will be traveling to youth-serving organizations and to our high schools. We know that we need some social media advertising dollars, and our young people will be provided with $500 to use for social media advertising. We're going to get some in-kind printing and copying from our local mental health board, and we're also going to get some in-kind dollars for our kickoff event from our local businesses who will be giving gift certificates as awards. We'll also need to use a few coalition dollars to help with that as well. So of the $1,500 budget, $1,000 will be from coalition funds, and $500 will be from in-kind resources. So here it is, guys. It's your call to action. We really need all coalitions and prevention specialists to utilize National Drug and Alcohol Facts Week as a celebration of the inquisitive minds of teenagers by encouraging them to ask questions about drugs, drug abuse, alcohol, and alcoholism, and to have the opportunity to get scientifically based answers without any judgment or biased comments. So it's your turn. Next week, start planning your event and register it online at the link here on the screen. Next month, make sure your partners are engaged. Start planning your activities, develop your budget, and also develop a communication or media plan. And in the next 6 months, we need you to carry out those plans. Evaluate your efforts and think about ways you can expand for the following year. To get more information, you would want to visit the following websites: https://teens.drugabuse.gov /national-drug-alcohol-facts-week for a full list of events, activities, and planning guides that will help you organize your event. If you have other questions, feel free to contact NIDA at drugfacts@nida.nih.gov. Thanks for learning about this important health observance. We hope to see it in your community soon.